I'm Stacy Gordon. Welcome to That's My Jam. Today I'm going to be making a dish that's pretty unique to the Louisville, Kentucky area. In the 1920s, downtown Louisville was a pretty happening place. It was during that time that prominent businessman James Graham Brown built a hotel at the corner of 4th and Broadway in downtown Louisville. It was appropriately called the Brown Hotel. In fact, it still is today. Back in the 1920s, before the Great Depression, the Brown Hotel would often host very lavish dinner parties. As the night would progress after these dinner parties, so would the late night hunger of the guests. And it was to satisfy that late night hunger that Chef Fred Schmidt invented the hot brown. Now, the basic components of the hot brown have remained pretty consistent. Some people have tweaked it here and there, and I'm sure there's going to be an ingredient or something that I'm going to do that someone is going to say is not authentic. I'm okay with that. So today, we're going to make my version of the hot brown. Let's get started. Our first step is to get our oven preheated. I'm going to set mine to broil. Next, I'm going to fry up a few slices of thick cut bacon. I've cut this bacon in half, so ultimately we're probably going to use about 4 of the half slices on each hot brown. Kentucky Derby time is just around the corner, so if you're interested in other Kentucky or Louisville inspired dishes, be sure to check out my channel for these videos. We want this bacon to be just mildly crispy, so I think I'm going to go ahead and take that up. We'll set that aside. Next, we're going to be needing some roasted turkey. Now let me be clear. Fresh carved oven roasted turkey is the very best thing you can use for a hot brown. Now, let me keep it real. You don't always have access to that. If you don't, you can take a bit of a shortcut. I'm using some high quality deli turkey, about 2 to 3 nice sized slices for each hot brown. Since this came out of the refrigerator, I'm going to sit that out for a little bit just to knock the chill off. Hot browns need to be served in an oven-safe dish, typically a ramekin. I'm going to give each ramekin a very light spray of olive oil. If you've never used one of these type of sprayers, I highly recommend these over the aerosol kind. You can find a link for this as well as the ramekins in the description down below my video. We're going to need some toast. I've got 2 nice slices of 12 grain pan bread, and I'm going to go ahead and throw those in my toaster. We're also going to need some sliced tomatoes. During the summer in Kentucky, you're going to want to go outside and pick a nice fresh homegrown tomato off your vine. In early April, we don't have that luxury. I find the closest thing is these Campari tomatoes. They're small, but they're nice and red inside with a great flavor, and I find these will do the trick. I'm going to wash these up and slice them. I'm making 2 hot browns today, so I've got 2 tomatoes for each one. See how gorgeous and red these are? I'm telling you, these are the next best thing to a homegrown tomato. Now we're going to make the key ingredient to a hot brown, the Mornay sauce. We're going to start with a small, heavy-bottomed saucepan. Next, we're going to need 2 cups of whole milk. We're going to pour that into our saucepan. We're going to add a little bit of salt to that milk and cook on a medium heat just to get this milk hot. While that's getting hot, I'm going to measure out 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Next, we're going to need 1/2 cup shredded cheese. Everybody has their own opinion about what's the best cheese to use or the only cheese to use. I use what's convenient to me and what I happen to already have in my fridge. We don't want to scorch this milk. We just want to get it warm, and it is. So for now, I'm going to pour it back into a Pyrex container and set it aside. I'm going to take about 2 tablespoons of butter, throw it back into my pan. I rinsed that out super quick. We're keeping this on some medium heat, and right now my objective is to melt this butter. As this is melting, we want to start incorporating our all-purpose flour. What we're doing here is making a roux. We don't want to brown the roux. We're just trying to get this nice and thick. Once the flour is incorporated with the butter, we're going to grab this warm milk and put that right in there. The best way to mix this is with a whisk. You don't want lumps in this. I'm going to add some black pepper. Remember, we've already put our salt in here. Now, some people like to add some nutmeg. I'm not a huge fan of nutmeg, but just to give it a little bit of zip, I'm going to use a dash or so of red pepper. We're going to whisk this until we feel like all the lumps are out of it, and until you see it just start to thicken. And when you see it's just starting to thicken, we're going to remove the heat and we're going to start adding our 1/2 cup of shredded cheese. Wow, you can watch that turn into a really beautiful sauce right before your eyes. We want to keep this off the heat now. Folks, it's time for assembly. We're going to grab those 2 pieces of toast. Do what you need to do to make them fit in your ramekin. Doesn't matter. Now our roasted turkey. Next, we're going to add our tomato slices. I like a bite of tomato with each bite of my hot brown. You can adjust how much tomato you use according to your taste. Let's grab this gorgeous, gorgeous Mornay sauce. We want to get a generous amount on each hot brown. And you can see that I possibly had enough left over to do one more. These are ready to go in our oven, but remember, our oven is very hot, so these are only going to stay in there a very short time. just long enough to brown this Mornay sauce. Now would be the perfect time to go tap that like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Guys, it doesn't take long for these to start bubbling and to get brown on top. So as soon as you see it start to get brown, you want to go ahead and get that out of the oven. Keep a close eye on it. These are crazy hot, so be careful. You might even still hear them bubbling. I'm going to go ahead and put some bacon strips on the top of each one. I gotta level with you. One of these is only going to get 3 strips. I ate it. Guys, just look at that. Kentucky comfort food at its finest. This needs to be served hot, but you just took this out of a broiling oven. So put it on another plate and warn your guests, hot plate. I'm going to try to go ahead and cut into this and let you see what it looks like on the inside. Check that out. These hot browns are going to be a hit at your derby party or any time of year. I'm going to be back again with you real soon. I've got new recipes, new aprons, and I'm excited to kick off this year. Until then, turn off the TV, turn on some music, and just keep jamming.